Welcome to the CrossFit Canada podcast, telling the stories of Canadian affiliate owners and coaches as we continue kind of launch week or however this gets rolled out. When we launch it to the public, we are introducing you to your seminar staff and affiliate owners. Today we have Jocelyn Rylee from Saskatchewan. So Jocelyn, we introduce everyone just the same way we would a new member in a class with a question of the day.
Oh, I love it.
So you're going to introduce yourself, your affiliates, and one of the favorite places you've ever been to.
Oh, good question. So my name's Jocelyn Rylee. I'm the co-owner of CrossFit Brio in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Like you said, one of my favorite places that I've ever been to. Well, there's different kinds of favorites. I'm going to say places that we return to frequently. Whistler, BC on the West Coast. My husband, my two boys. The thing we all love to do together is snowboarding. So that's been like a real favorite place of ours. We try to go back as frequently as we can through the winter, and just maximizing these times where we are all together and we have this in common that we like to do. So
very cool. And I'll almost steal that. I was going to say the CrossFit Games the first year I went, and I think most will agree with that. But keeping with that is, for me, it was Jasper. I'd been to Jasper 3 years in a row in March. And, you know, you get to the point where it's actually an off season for them. And, you know, you get the same waiter 1 year apart and we remember you. You guys are this. And it's always very cool. So you are co-owners. You know, your husband will love that shout out, co-owners of CrossFit Brio. How long, for those who don't know, how long has CrossFit Brio been around?
We started in 2008, so we've just crossed into the 17 year. We just signed our affiliate license for year 17. So somehow a decade and a half and a little bit longer has gone by, and we've just been loving life, living in the affiliate. My husband and I have been doing it full time the entire time, running, coaching. I still actively coach 3-4 days a week, lots of classes during the week, as does my husband. So yeah, we've been living in CrossFit Brio for quite a long time now.
Very cool. And I always like to get, I love kind of CrossFit origin stories. Tell us how you got into CrossFit story.
So I feel like I was thinking about this morning. I know you're talking to all the seminar staff, the Canadian crew, and you'll hear some stories of really amazing athletes, right? You'll hear Pete Shaw that's been to the CrossFit Games, and Jason McDonald was a professional fighter in the UFC. And I was like, I'm just like represent the normies. Right. I was not an athlete growing up. I did not play any sports. I was a huge nerd, like band geek, all that kind of stuff. And then in my early 20s was just like, I guess I should like try to get fit, just like trying to get skinny or whatever. So I had set foot in the gym for the first time when I was in grad school and just dabbling a little bit, had got a personal trainer and dabbled in some bodybuilding stuff, just kind of reps and sets, like typical gym things. Started running because that seems to be a thing that people do. Ran a bunch of half marathons, would go to yoga. I really enjoyed going to yoga classes. So just dabbling in general fitness stuff, and not for very long, just a couple years. And then I read an article in a Muscle and Fitness magazine, and it was called The Toughest Workout in the World. And it was about the Filthy 50. It was about CrossFit. And I, like many people, thought I was very fit. Oh, I'm like a gym girl now, and I run and I go to yoga. I was like, toughest workout, like bring it. And my husband and I, at the time we weren't married yet, went on CrossFit.com, looked at all these different workouts, came up with our own workout we were going to try. And it was a mashup of Murph and the Filthy 50. So it started and ended with a 1 mile run. And then it had 50 reps of all these things, this chipper in the middle. So we go to Gold's Gym in Calgary, where we lived at the time, and just terrorized that gym. We were just all over the place. And now we're here, now we're there, taking over stuff. And it was so bad, like just got owned so bad. Ego crushed, destroyed, thought I was fit, had that reckoning of like, I am not at all. And what have I been doing with my time? And what even is this? And like many people, I feel like have a similar first experience with CrossFit. And I was like, I got to learn about this thing. What is this? We started following CrossFit.com, the workouts that were just being posted on the old blog and the old message board.
You went away from creating your own mayhem. Maybe we'll go by what they say to do.
Programming skills have come a long way since then, that's for sure. And then we got ourselves to our first level 1 that same year. And around the same time, my husband and I had both decided to be probably big dumb idiots and quit our careers to become personal trainers. We just were very into like physical culture and fitness. And I was working in the finance industry as working towards being a financial analyst. He was running a restaurant, both kind of like high stress jobs. And we went, we can't do this forever. Like this isn't the way we want to live our life forever. So we had opened this little personal training studio. We'd moved back to Saskatoon, which is where I'm from, started doing PT with a variety of people all over the city. And then, in kind of a time crunch, we were like, we need a space. Like we can't just keep driving all over the city. So we leased this little spot in a strip mall. It was like 1,500 square feet between a butcher shop and an accountant, and had personal training clients. And David and I, my husband, we were dabbling in CrossFit workouts ourselves. We were like, hey, this is pretty cool, pretty fun. We're getting pretty fit. Started using the workouts with the people we were training. They were enjoying it as well. They were getting fitter. And then things like basic life tasks, like shoveling the driveway or doing yard work, people weren't getting hurt as nearly as much, just doing regular life stuff. And then people started to approach us to say, hey, a personal trainer is expensive. Can we split the cost between two people? Me and my friend come in together. We were like, sure. Like, how about 3? And they're like, how about a group of 5? And then we ended up saying, well, how about we'll just put group times on our schedule and you guys can just come in groups and lower the cost. And so people are like, heck yeah. And then they like that better. This community evolves and people work harder with other people around them rather than a trainer just being like, do 10 more reps. And then the results accelerate, right? When people work harder and you push more intensity. And so I always kind of joke that we didn't set out to open a CrossFit gym. We just followed what worked and what people liked and what got better results. And it turns out that's a CrossFit affiliate in a group fitness class affiliate community-based model. So
it's worth right. And that's so cool to just pause and reflect on very briefly to your point. Like this was prior to you both having done your level 1. Is that correct?
It was kind of all happening right around the same time. Yeah.
Okay. But I guess what I mean is that's exactly how Greg started and opened CrossFit Santa Cruz, right? So it's so cool to see those parallels running. It starts in personal training and I don't have enough time. And sure enough, people like working out in a group and here you are.
Yeah. It's funny to we've always prided ourselves on continuous improvement is what we always say, which means being willing to try new things, not being dedicated to this is the way it's always been done. So this is the way it has to be done. Being willing to try new stuff, and then being really self-evaluative and being willing to abandon what's not working. So going, well, we tried, but that's not it. And moving on and pivoting and trying different things. And just accepting that no 2 years are going to be the same, not trying to hold on to like, well, last year was different. Just move forward, continue to do what works. Our needs, our community, our members, our lifestyle has evolved tons over the years. And we've just always like kind of gone with the flow and been having a good time.
Well, and I think it might be easy for someone listening, the tens of people listening to this, say, okay, well, you've been doing this for 17 years. You must not be surprised by anything or must know all the answers. And I'm going to guess it's probably the complete opposite of that, which we'll get back to. But what was that first year like for you guys, if you recall, or first couple years?
So like I said, the first couple of years was just figuring out personal training. And I feel like a lot of what you have to learn to some extent, there's the nuts and bolts of physical education and training and programs and reps and sets and all that kind of stuff. But much more, it's about the human aspect, right? Motivating people, helping them make change, managing their emotions, especially, in a one-on-one situation. You develop a deep relationship with people. And then when it's 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you learn to replicate that ability to connect with people in bigger groups. And then you see that it becomes less about the member and the trainer and more about member to member, helping people connect with each other and the support and camaraderie and friendship and all that evolves out of people just doing hard things together. So I think a lot of the learning, if it's hard to even stretch my brain back that far, there was, the aspects of running a business, being an entrepreneur, but a lot of that I think came down to learning about people.
So to kind of switch gears a little bit, but I think they run together, is you and your husband both hold the CF-L4 designation, correct?
Yep.
Did you guys do the original coach's prep course?
So this is how old we are, Matt. We
Okay.
actually did the old level 2 before the coach's prep course existed.
Okay.
So we did level 1 in 2008. Before it had a test actually. And then about 6 months later, we had to go back and write the level 1 exam.
Okay.
And then 2009, we went and did the old level 2 course. So at the time there was only level 1 and 2.
Right.
And the level 2 course was kind of similar to how it is now, where you go in and on day 1, you would teach a group. They would give you 8 people and say, teach these people the deadlift. And they would give you feedback on your coaching. And it was harsh.
Well, and that was going to be my question, was if it was that, many don't know how harsh that original feedback was.
It was harsh, but so valuable. And then day 2 was an evaluation. So it would be similar-ish to what the level 4 evaluation is now, which is an evaluation of your ability to coach people. It wasn't an entire class, but they would give you, I think you had 3 different movements and 3 different groups. And so we had Chris Spieler, Chuck Carswell, Lisa Ray, and then Nicole Carroll was there on day 2 for the evaluations with their little clipboard, giving you feedback. And the pass rate for that back then was very low. And somehow David and I managed to make it through. And I do attribute that to having spent so much time doing personal training and not jumping right into doing group training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you kind of like, when you're training someone one-on-one, you can't be like, okay, you recognize their loss of neutral spine in the deadlift. You can't be like, arch your chest up and then walk away. You have nowhere to go. You're with that person until you make it better. So I think that developing that skill of actually seeing and correcting and making real change and not being able to just like, hey, great job, and walk on to the next person actually was super beneficial. So you just scale that up. I think we had 8 people at a time. And we just had followed CrossFit.com. We would read the CrossFit Journal articles religiously. When the videos would come out, the subject matter experts and the articles, we would just pour over them every week and try to put them into practice. And then when we showed up at that old level 2, we both managed to pass the evaluation, which was cool. And then in 2015, when they came out with the 1, 2, 3, 4 structure, we wrote the level 3 exam, and then we got grandfathered into the level 4. So we've both had it for 10 years now. We both had it since 2015. So
wow. Very
that's
cool.
what I would say. I have the asterisk level 4. It means I passed it the old way.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Would you rather get that feedback in person or in the email? I mean, mine came in the email on the plane as I landed, and it's like, ooh, I don't know how I would want to receive this.
Yeah, I remember it was at CrossFit Calgary's old location, and they would take you upstairs, and it was Chuck and Nicole Carroll, and they're like talking about me to each other. Then everyone would come down from their little personal meeting and people were crying. And it was like, there was so many emotions going on in that weekend. But I still would say of all the courses, all the seminars I've ever done, that was by far the most beneficial weekend. Harsh, hard, difficult, but by far the most beneficial.
For sure. And then how did your staff journey begin?
So I'd always... I'll tell you one thing that always stuck with me in that evaluation from the old level 2. Nicole Carroll looked at Chuck and said, we should talk to her about being a demo girl, talking about me. And I was like, oh, in that moment, like, oh my God, Nicole Carroll thinks I'm a good mover. This is amazing. And then just kind of nothing ever came of it. And we went back to our gym, and the next year I had a baby, and like life kind of took over. And then I got fairly into the competitive side of weightlifting for about 5 or 6 years, and CrossFit competition and that kind of stuff. The competitive side took up a lot of my time, but it always existed in the back of my head. 2016, I had another baby. Life gets complicated. And 2019, we went and took the aerobic capacity course at CrossFit NCR in Ottawa. I made a little trip out of it, needed some CE credits. And I was chatting with Paul Tremblay, one of the owners. And I was like, hey, like, thanks for hosting. Like, really appreciate when these things are in Canada and it's fun. We got to make a trip out of it. We always need these CE credits. And he's like, oh, do you have the level 3? And I was like, oh, actually, we both have the level 4. And he was like, you have the level 4? He's like, you should apply for seminar stuff. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Like, youngest was 3 at that time. And I was like, oh, I have always wanted to do that. And so Paul kind of gave me a little push. And I'd known Jason McDonald. He lives in Red Deer. I'm in Saskatoon, just from the old Canada West days. And he was always there in his gym, and we kind of knew each other. And through the grapevine, I'd heard that they were looking for more staff in Canada. And so I kind of had a little push from some of the crew, and threw my application in there, and then started back then what was the internship process in 2019. And then COVID happens in the middle of that. So kind of threw the starting process for a loop. So there was kind of an odd start. There's almost a year gap of like seminars weren't really happening and that kind of stuff. And then ended up, I got hired in the middle of COVID. So now it'll be coming up on 5 years that I've been on
Very
seminar
cool.
staff.
Yeah. And so whether you want to call it a big gap or an elapse of time from kind of starting to ending up on staff, your business, I'm sure, evolved through different iterations in those time frame. And then I don't know if you recall, like the first weekend you had to go away, or the first month, and the feeling of stepping away from the business, especially during COVID. I'm guessing, I don't know, where you feel like you're having to put so much energy back into this thing that got pulled so much energy out of. So how did getting on staff reapproach how you ran your business, or you and your husband went about it?
So at one point we had 3 locations of CrossFit Brio.
Oh, wow.
In 2012, we moved to our current building that we're in. 2014, we opened a huge location. We bought an old roller rink. And then late 2014, we opened a 3rd location. So there was a time where we were really like, grow, 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 bigger is better. And then we got to the point where we were like, oh my God, the bigger is not better. This is just more work, and it's not really adding to our quality of life. Don't really feel like we're doing a better job for our community. We're just stretched thin. 2016, we had our second baby, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, okay, something has to go here. So we sold the big location after that in about 2017. So we had already taken one big thing off of our plate, which was kind of nice. And through those years where I was quite involved with weightlifting, with Team Saskatchewan as a competitor, as a coach of the junior team, as a referee, I had already been going away, traveling on weekends semi-frequently for competitions, as a ref, as a coach, as an athlete. So we had somewhat of being accustomed to me being away occasionally on weekends. So we were somewhat used to it. We have very helpful grandparents. My parents live on the same street as us, so they're super helpful with the kids. We have a great team of coaches at our gym. We're super lucky to have very dedicated long-term members and coaches that we can trust, that do a great job. They're super dedicated to the community. I know finding good staff is a major struggle for lots of affiliates. So I'm like grateful every day to those guys, and that we have a pretty good structure that the gym can run in either of our absence or in both of our absence.
So on staff, that not staff, your own staff, your coaches, how do you keep and maintain coaches? It's such a silly and simple question to ask, but I'm sure some people would probably hear that and say, "Ooh, can you put a dog ear on that?" So talk about your team a little bit, and maybe some highs and lows, but what you've done to keep folks engaged.
Yeah, I think probably. I know you were saying in the beginning, like, oh, you probably have all the answers. I think we've just probably made all the mistakes, to be honest. It's like mistakes probably made and lessons learned from the early days is you do, as the owner, have to be the leader. And when things are happening or drama is bubbling or something is happening that's giving you that feeling in the pit of your stomach, ignoring it or letting the inmates run the asylum is not the way. And we've made that mistake and had to go through a period of time where we had to let some people go, and then realize that as much as you dread those hard conversations or those hard changes, it's never as bad as you imagine. And once it's done, you're always like, oh, I should have done that 6 months ago. Everyone's relieved. Everyone in the gym feels better, feels, when that tension or that the drama or the clickiness all of a sudden is gone. So moving forward from those early day experiences and getting better at just leadership or being the caretaker of the community, I think we've had a few times over the years where something comes up and we just address it immediately. And those things build trust with the community, with the coaches. They see that our intentions are in the right place and we've got their back if anything happens. We've tried to build a really open line of communication, a culture of feedback. They can tell us anything if things are bothering them, and if there's anything that we can do better. And I hope that they see that we are always trying to do things better. And then our tagline now for CrossFit Brio is home of the committed. That the people that we've accumulated over the years, it's like, we're just lifers. We're just here. We're going to do this forever. Like, how long do you want to be fit? For the rest of my life. Thank you.
Yeah.
So then if we're all on the same page, we're like, hey, this is just what we do. These are our people. This is important to us. I think that challenge of COVID, of people seeing what life is like without that, really reinvigorated people's dedication to what we're doing. We had 3 months of not being able to be together in the gym. And then as soon as we came back, people were like, oh, this is important. And even during the shutdown, we had many of our members being like, do you need money? Like, are you okay? You make sure that this place reopens when this is done. Like, we realized for lots of us just how important it was. And then we're like, all right, so this is important and we all love it and we all contribute to make sure that this thing runs.
Very cool. So it seems like, going all the way back to the beginning, is you said, in your first couple of years, you guys really focused on just being committed to the people in front of you. And then it seems like that seems to be the thread that has weaved through all this time. And I mean, even hearing how you guys had 3 locations and like, yeah, let's be committed to everyone, but whether it's Dunbar's law or just that thread is only so long, that seems to have been your North Star, as opposed to, say, chasing dollars or something else.
Yeah. And I think you just kind of realize over time, like, David and I do this full time. This is our job. So fundamentally, we have to like it. So trying to run something on someone else's terms or do things in a way that makes us not enjoy going to work just isn't sustainable. It's just not going to work. So I think it was Greg Glassman's line. He's like, I just built a place that I would want to be, that I would want to work out. And we've kind of taken that same approach, and we've changed over the years, and the membership has evolved over the years, and the way we operate has evolved over the years. And then people that are with us along for that ride are on the same page. And you kind of learn that you'll collect people that are right for you, and some people aren't, and that's fine. And there's other options and other places and other ways for them to pursue fitness in a way that works for them. And that more people and bigger numbers isn't necessarily the goal. It's quality, which doesn't that mirror CrossFit training? Do less, but better. You don't need 500 members. You need 200 really awesome members, Yeah,
it's like be impressed with culture, not numbers or something.
Yeah. Like be impressed with intensity, not volume. Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So where was my train of thought there? Because full time. That's it. So it's very interesting. Like, this has been both of yours full-time role since the dawn of time. What the beauty of the affiliate model is that not everyone has to make it their full-time gig, but rather than through your experiences, through your travels and networking with and visiting affiliates through staff, what do you think might be holding someone back from making that leap, if anything?
To making it their full-time job?
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like I could see if you had gone the other direction, from you started a small business on the side in addition to having a full-time job, and then you're trying to make that leap. But man, letting go of that full-time consistent paycheck to go, I'm all in on the gym, that's a tough thing. One of the roles I have with CrossFit is on the CrossFit Mentor program, working with other affiliates, some of them new, but some of them not new, and just interested in improving the back end, the business operations of their business, and working with one whose goal is to be able to step away from her full-time job and do the gym full-time. And she's gone from 5 days a week down to 3 at her job. And so now she's got 2 full days a week to focus on the affiliate. And so in that situation, it happens to work for her that she can titrate down. Her job is willing to let her do that. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. You're full-time or you quit. So, I mean, that's one option. I do think you have to be in a financial position to be able to withstand, I want to say 3 months, but probably 6 to 12 would be smarter of say no income. So you have to have your life structured in a way that your housing and food and your life costs can be covered so that you can go all in on your business. And then when your business has your full attention, assuming you use your time productively, it will go better. As soon as you have to split your attention with a different job, a different career. I know lots of affiliate owners are first responders, lots of firefighters own affiliates and that sort of thing, where maybe that full-time job isn't 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Maybe it's 8 to 10 shifts a month and they can manage that in there. So there's lots of ways that people make it work. And I think that's so interesting, right? The affiliate model where you get to run your business any way you like. And it's like genetic diversity in the CrossFit world. I've seen big affiliates and small affiliates and more community driven, like a co-op almost style affiliate. And people run them in their garages and people have huge locations and all these different ways that you can bring the methodology to life for people. I think it's really cool.
You know, I have a assumption / belief though, that the hardest, or whether it's hard or the guilt that comes from making that leap, lays in taking a paycheck from this thing that is your business.
Yeah.
And for some, that can be the scariest, especially if they're already collecting a paycheck. It's like, well, I collect this money. I don't need this money, so I'm going to invest it out. And, you know, it's like money spent is money gone. But if you hang on to it while it's coming in, it makes that transition a little easier. Do you see folks who maybe are a little feel guilty or apprehensive about paying themselves?
Yeah. Or about charging what they're worth, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
There's this sense like people that get into CrossFit and coaching and affiliate ownership are really giving people. They're very service oriented people, which like you said, comes along with some guilt for having money involved. People are like, I'm not in this for the money. I'm not in this, you know, for the profit, which is fair. I don't think you should do this if you're just motivated by the big dollar sign, but also for you to be in service of your community at your best, you have to have your needs met. You know, like you have to be not struggling to pay your rent and stressed out, or, you know, if it means that you're spread too thin because you're working full-time at the gym and working a full-time other job, those things are not you showing up as your best self in service of your community. So lots of on the mentorship program is encouraging people to charge what they're worth so that they can do the best job for their members. My husband and I, we consider ourselves the caretakers of our community. I don't even like the term owner, gym owner. We're the caretakers of the community, which being a caretaker of it comes with lots of responsibilities. It comes with the responsibility to handle the difficult conversations like we were talking about with a toxic member or coaches that aren't meeting expectations. It comes with the responsibility to run the place financially sound, which means managing expenses, paying your coaches appropriately, charging what you're worth so that the thing continues to run. The gym is of no use to anybody if it goes out of business or if you get so burnt out that you can't do it anymore. You know, but
well, and you
responsible.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, going back to the beginning of how we started this whole thing off, is you're saying the favorite place for you and your husband to go to is to Whistler and disconnect and get on the slopes. And I'm going to guess that's probably essential to both of your sanities, but also your passion. But it can be, for folks who didn't know that you both run your affiliate full time, and think, okay, well, you know, you have vacation pay from a side job, like, but it's like, no, we have to, as an obligation to our family, ourselves, and our community, run this place in a way that allows or affords us to take time at a place where we have to spend money to be at.
Yeah.
So that we can come home and rinse and repeat. How important is getting away for you guys?
Yeah, it's always been really important. Something we've always done with my family since I was a kid was all through my childhood, we took a month off. They'd pull me out of school for a month and go away in the winter. And so we kind of kept that going. It's not quite a month anymore. We moved it over the Christmas break when it aligned with school breaks and that kind of thing. And now we continue to do that. So the entire time we've run our business, we've taken, it usually ends up being about 3 weeks off in December and bridging into January. And so that was always important to us as a family thing. And so we just figured it out with staff, and kind of the members know and coaches know. We have, like I said, we're super lucky to have great people around us that we've just always done it that way. And I do think that's been a huge part of staying recharged. Like you said, staying mentally engaged. I enjoy the break, but I'm always really stoked to get back. And those first days back coaching in the gym, I'm like, I missed you guys, and I'm just like so pumped to be back at it. So I do think one way or another, part of being responsible as the caretaker of the community is taking care of yourself too. Coaches and owners are so giving, and you give away your time and you give away your energy, and you're awake at 4 a.m. to coach the 5 a.m. class, and you skip your workout because you coach 7 classes that day, and all the ways that we give. And I think people have to save time for themselves, whatever that looks like. If it looks like time away, if it looks like days off, if it looks like enough sleep, if it looks like getting your workouts in no matter what, there just has to be that time for self-care, because you can't show up as your best self for your people if you're run down.
Well, and we were talking about this offline before we hit record. It's a good way to get into that. But now you are working your affiliate owner journey in reverse. You were full-time in, and then now as more and more opportunities have become available to you from HQ and other opportunities. I mean, you just got your master's, or was so, like you're working yourself out of a job in your own job. And so, yeah, let's unpack that a little more.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's funny when you look back at the time, it just seems like, oh, I'm going to try this and then I'll try that. So like I said, I started on staff in 2019 and then fully on the go in 2020. 2021, I've always had a strong passion for food and cooking and nutrition. And it had just evolved to the point that several people in my life were like, you should clearly do something with this. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to get a master's of science in human nutrition. So I finished that in June of 2024. And honestly, traveling, teaching seminars on staff was great for that. I spend so much time in airports, boring nights in hotel rooms by myself. And that's the majority of the time I spent. The entire master's I did was online and distance education. COVID certainly made those flexible learning options much more available. This program had been online for the better part of 20 years, so they knew what they were doing. And I kind of joke that I got a master's degree in the airport because I would sit there and write papers and do my research and read things and write all the essays and stuff that I had to do in that downtime, my travel time. So I do love multitasking if you can get a 2-for-1. So that worked out well, actually, with kind of maximizing the time that I was away. And then, I'm gone about 2 weekends a month is sort of the standard for traveling. It's not all seminars. I work for the CrossFit Games in the summer, do some other media type stuff with CrossFit here and there. And we've just kind of fallen into a decent rhythm where we can make that work.
So
before we started recording, I've run my affiliate full-time this whole time. And now I'm going the other way and having what's becoming almost another full-time job, but it happens to be with CrossFit HQ.
Yeah, you can't be available. I've worked with business mentors as well. And one of the things when I was trying to pursue staff was, can you take the call? How many affiliate owners would love to be on staff, but how many could get a call on a Wednesday and say, hey, we need you on a 7 a.m. flight Friday. You're not getting home till Monday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And maybe you can do that once by just putting all the flammable things away. But can you do that multiple times?
Yeah.
But it's almost the intensity and volume conversation again in what you're doing, because someone might hear it's like they might hear you're doing more, but it seems like you're just being more efficient with what you're doing as a multitasker and whatnot. But ramping up the intensity of the things you're doing that fuel your passions, but not just trying to do as much as possible either.
Yeah. And I think it's just, so I'll make an analogy. The location that we kept, our original building that we moved to in 2012, is only 4,000 square feet. So my current affiliate is not that big relative. There's many others that are much bigger.
Sure.
We own that building, so we're not going anywhere. So we have used every square inch of that facility to its most efficient. David and I are notorious for rearranging the gym, like every long weekend. People are like, where's everything going to be on Tuesday? I don't know. So we've, tinkered and tried and maximized and rearranged and optimized everything to the very best that we can. So there's no wasted space, because there just can't be. If we want to have big full classes, everything has its place. Nothing extra can be in there, which makes everything run better. It's really tidy. There isn't a pile of broken equipment collecting dust bunnies in the corner, because we don't have space for that. It can't happen. And then same thing when you're trying to do lots in the business. We've made really good use of tools and technology to support the operations of the business, to take as much of the administrative side of things off of our plate, like manual type stuff needing to happen.
Ooh.
So it made us optimize, because we can't be doing things manually and inefficiently. And then with our systems, with how we communicate with our members, with the coaches, with coaches' notes, with how everything runs, we've just tried to get everything to a very self-sufficient place, so that things continue to run effectively, efficiently, even in our absence. So I would say sometimes trying to do more forces you. It's like, if you want to go faster, you have to have better technique. If you want to do more, you're going to have to be more efficient with how you spend your time.
Or and even be willing, I think, to not use the run on Helen to catch your breath.
Yeah.
Push that intensity a little bit, find out, okay, I didn't die. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
How can I now learn from this moving forward?
And I feel like we've really pushed the limit in our business and my job and going back to school and our family in the last 3 years. And we've touched the fire a few times where we were like, okay, like too much on the go. And that's fine. I'm okay with trying it and being like, oh, that's too much. And then we got to back off a little bit. And then, figuring out where's the optimal, where all these buckets of things that are important. My kids are super important. My relationship with my husband is important. Our business is super important. My continued learning and development is really important to me, and making sure that none of the buckets have a hole in them, that everything's getting filled up and managed appropriately. And every so often one takes too much, and then you got to back off. And like we said, it's just always being willing to try, and then also being willing to admit when it's not working, when it's too much.
Or even, I think, being willing to try, but being willing to not to fail, but also realizing failure isn't a bad thing, is that if you do try to juggle a few balls and one drops, you can set them all down, pick that one back up, and start over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. And I see a lot of people that live in essentially fear, and they hold themselves back from ever trying, because they're like, well, what if I fail? And I felt like that about when I went back to school. I was 37, 38. And I was like, I'm going to be 40 when I finish this thing. And that just sounded so old in my mind. And then I was like, I'm going to be 40 anyway. I may as well be 40 with another master's degree. And if I can't hack it, and if I have to drop out, well, at least I tried. At least I'll know that that wasn't for me, instead of being like, oh, I always wish I would have done that. Like getting 10 years in the future and being like, oh, I really should have tried. I would rather try and know that I'm not capable or it didn't work than always live with that little bit of regret of wishing I would have gone for it. So you have to be a bit reckless, you have to let go of the fear. You have to be willing to try things, and you have to be willing to fail at things. There are many failures along the way, and maybe just don't even use that word. Don't view them as failures. Just go, well, that didn't work, and pivot and move on.
Yeah. I always use the analogy of buckets of success and buckets of failure. And talking to Ketty Ann, one of the most valuable things of the affiliate summits, and I know we're going to have some more out your way this year, is to be able to get into a room with a bunch of affiliate owners, and maybe either some newer affiliates or ones who run it part-time might look up to others and, say, oh, wow, like they've got this bucket of successes that they brought with them. It's like, well, no, my bucket of failures was too big to bring with me. That's why.
Yeah. And we went to the Western Canadian Affiliate Gathering last year, and I try to attend those things as much as I possibly can. I love connecting with other affiliate owners, and I love connecting with the new affiliate owners. I have so much to learn from them because they're
Mhm.
super enthusiastic and they're trying lots of stuff and they're building community and they're, trying to get people in their community to know that their brand exists. So they're doing lots of cool community outreach things. It's really reinvigorating for me to be near the enthusiasm of a new affiliate owner. There's plenty to be gained in both directions. I can give you some wisdom and experience and tell you all the mistakes I made and the things that don't really work. I can tell you some things we stumbled upon that are pretty great, that work pretty well. But I think that goes in both directions too. I really love being a part of the affiliate owner community, and I feel like that is just a macro version of what exists in any of our individual affiliates. Is why are people members of a CrossFit gym? What's the community? Why is it important to me that we stay a CrossFit affiliate? It's the community. It's me being connected to other affiliate owners. And just like someone could do the CrossFit methodology in their garage by themselves, and many do, and that's fine. They're there for the fitness. The community isn't what they're looking for. You could do functional movements. You can drop an affiliate and be a functional fitness gym essentially by yourself without being connected to the global or national network of other people doing the same thing. And you can, that would be fine. But to me, I would not want to do this alone.
Mhm.
We're in a war against chronic disease. CrossFit gyms are the lifeboats in a sea of chronic disease. And I don't want to fight a war by myself. It's super important to me that I know that you're there in Ontario and good affiliate owners are there in BC, and I'm here in Saskatchewan and Alberta and Montreal and around the world. And regardless of the exact manifestation of how we do it, that we're on
Mhm.
this mission together, that I'm not alone in this battle and you're not alone in this battle. And we can connect once in a while and take ideas from each other, just take energy from each other and be like, all right, we got this. Even though our army in this battle is dispersed all over the world, we're each in our little islands of our affiliates doing the thing. To know that there are so many other people out there on the same mission is like super valuable to me.
Well, and I think busy affiliate owners don't want to bother other affiliate owners, but the ones who maybe perceived to be the busiest probably aren't. I'm not nearly as busy as people like to say I am. And so to be able to just reach out to each other and throw, like, I had someone, because I started a not-for-profit helping people with addiction, and someone reached out and he's like, hey, I know you're busy, can I have a couple minutes just to talk about it? I was like, yeah, I'm free right now, I got nothing but time.
Yep.
But I think the most valuable piece of advice I was able to give this affiliate owner was, they were wanting to do something and we're kind of tippy toeing. I'm like, the number one piece of advice I can give you is don't ask for permission to help your community. Don't ask for
Yeah.
permission to save someone's life, right? Like, we have this tool that's so powerful and can be molded however we're all passionate about it, as long as that salt shaker stays in the center of the table.
Mhm.
But there's so much resources of people who have probably attempted it or tried it who will encourage you to continue to do the same.
Yeah. And back to what we were saying, like service oriented people, you'd be surprised when you just send a DM or an email to someone, how receptive they are to that. Very few people are going to view that as a bother. They're going to be happy to help, happy to share knowledge, experience, lessons, resources, connect you with other people. You just have to be willing to like not be fear based, like we were saying, be like, oh, I don't want to bother them. They probably don't want to hear from me. It's like, well, you may as well try. Worst that happens is they don't answer your email or don't answer your
Mhm.
DM, but throw it out there. You'd be surprised at the people that you can just like send them a message and they'll reply to you.
The my As I was saying, like for me at the games, the first year I went, went with a group of people, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's Brooke Wells. Oh, there's so and so," and I'm like, oh, "There's Chris McDonald. There's Nicole Christensen."
Yeah.
They're like such a CrossFit nerd, and Coach B was hosting a workout in the affiliate, and then I looked to my right, and Nicole Christensen standing right there. I'm like, "Hi, Nicole. I'm a big fan." And she looks and she's like, "Why?" And then
Yeah.
her response was, "Whatever you need, just reach out. Just
Yeah.
send a note." So you mentioned it already, but I think it's worth talking about, even though we're here to talk about you, is but you are a mentor on the CrossFit Mentor program. So if someone wanted a little bit more formalized program, maybe share just your experiences with that and kind of what it's like, and from there.
Yeah, so the CrossFit Mentor program is awesome. They've taken experienced affiliate owners on the business side and experienced seminar staff coaches on a coach development side. So you can choose to engage with a mentor for either or both of those things, coach development or business development. You go on CrossFit.com, and I think it's under courses, the mentor program. You can buy in packages of 1 session, 3 or 5, or ongoing relationships. We hop on the Zooms together. There's an online course thing associated with it where you do some work. It asks you some questions about your business and that sort of thing. And then, like anybody, it helps to have a coach. It doesn't matter at what point you're at. Sometimes you just need someone to vent to. Sometimes you just need someone to give you that push to do it, to be like, you're worth it. You need to raise your rates. You deserve a break. You can hire that coach. It'll be fine, even if it's not perfect, if you let someone else coach a class. Like lots of things where people kind of know in their heart what's right. They need someone to just help them. So there's lots of ways that the mentor program can help on marketing, business operations, coach development, staff development, lots of kinds of things. And then it's worth CE credits. So for people that have their level 3, I've worked with several affiliate owners that were like, they run great businesses and have been for a long time, but they're like, oh, I needed some CE credits. I thought this would be fun. I'll do a little tune up. I'll, maybe reassess my operations manual, and we'll do a few staff development things and just a little tune up. And then it allows them to get a good chunk of CE credits without having to travel or go to a course. They can do it from their own office. So yeah, it's a super cool program. There's seminar staff as mentors from all over the world too. And if you go on the mentor program section of CrossFit.com, it has all the bios. And so I've had people be like, oh, I want to work with Jocelyn because it sounds like her business background applies to what I need. Or, oh, I want to work with this particular coach because they're really skilled at coach development. And, you can get randomly paired with someone, or you can request who you want to work with as well. So yeah, it's a super neat program. Lots of opportunities I think originally it was intended to help new affiliates thrive, but we've been finding the uptake is in all aspects of the journey of affiliate ownership and coaching.
How has it been helpful just for you and your own affiliate?
Oh man, I feel like, is this even a job? This is so fun for me. I get to chat with these great affiliate owners and cool people. And, it's just like coaching, right? In the process of teaching someone else how to move better, you learn how to move better. It makes you a better athlete yourself. It's the same thing with business mentorship there, where working through those processes, thinking about it makes me reflect on my own business and processes, taking great ideas from other people, how they do their marketing or connect with their community or run their open. And I've certainly benefited from being on this side of the mentorship role as much, I think. Lucky me that I get to chat with all these cool people.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, switching gears as a high-level coach yourself, what do you think more CrossFit coaches and affiliates could be doing more of?
I think, okay, so my answer is to do less.
Okay.
I drop into CrossFit affiliates all the time. I love to take classes from other coaches. I think I dropped into 19 different affiliates last year and took classes. The majority of the issues that I see is the programming. It's too much volume, too much stuff going on, not giving the coaches an opportunity to do anything other than just rush and herd people around. Too much volume, not enough quality. So addressing those issues with the programming in the first place, and then setting up the coaches for success to have time to allow people to talk to each other. Do you have time for a question of the day while you're stretching and foam rolling at the start? Or are you rush? Having time to teach people how to do a proper heavy day. We talk about this at the level 1 and the level 2 affiliates struggle to let a 5x5 back squat stand alone as the programming for that day. Just serve it up like the gourmet meal that it is to their members, so that the members get what they want and they leave happy. They leave as better, improved athletes because they got some coaching. They got the chance to lift heavy because they had enough rest time, etc. And then given the opportunity in that 1 hour class with the right volume of programming, then just getting in there a bit more with coaching. And that's really what the level 2 is all about, is that if you think about what happens in a 1 hour class, whiteboard brief, general warm-up, specific warm-up, pee break, workout of the day, clean up, cool down. The level 2 zooms in on the specific warm-up, the teaching portion of the day. How are we going to teach movement, make it fun, make it engaging, make it time efficient to help people get better so that they not only move safer, less injuries, so people can be more durable in CrossFit for longer, but also just get fitter. Right? People like getting results. People come to us for fitness. It's our job to make them fitter, and coaching and helping them move better, and not just teaching, but also seeing and correcting is a part of that. It's a part of the responsibility as the coach. I think maybe I've seen people misunderstand that just demonstrating the movement qualifies as coaching. Go, here's what we're doing today. Here's what a thruster looks like. Here's a toes to bar. Okay, ready, go. Instead of, that's just one aspect: teaching, seeing, correcting, demonstration, presence and attitude, and group management. So people having the confidence to get in there, to teach things, to look at it, to tell them how to do it better. And then there's the presence and attitude of how to do all that and make it a fun experience for people, make it a positive experience. I'd say it's a trickle down.
For sure. And even the idea of like scaling, and it's like, how do I get my members to scale appropriately? And it's like, well, are you as a coach guiding them to the appropriate scaling option based on the expectations you've set? And you're there to give those scaling options because you're the coach. They don't come to, otherwise they could just go work out in their garage or terrorize the Globo gym doing a monster mashup.
Yeah, exactly. That's, what do people come to us for? Well, they want fitness. They join a gym because they want to get fitter and healthier, presumably. But then why do they stay? Well, they stay for the coaching. They stay for the community. Maybe they stay for, people think it's the program facility. It's really not, because you can buy programming online. You could spend a few $1,000s and trick out your garage. So you have to understand why people are there. What's the value they're looking for from you? And there's always this balance of giving people what they want versus what they need. That's a struggle, right? What do people want? Well, there's a certain type of person that only wants to lift heavy and never wants to do a burpee. And there's a certain type of person that would love to do a 40-minute AMRAP every day. And they're like, I never want to snatch. I don't care. And so you're like, well, you're always trying to tug people in the direction of like, I know you want that and we'll give you a bit of that, but you also need this other stuff for the sake of your overall fitness and your area, and then volume under the curve in your work capacity across your life. So getting that balance is really tough, I think. But so something I wanted to bring up with you. So coaches need to be better at seeing and correcting, teaching in general, which requires knowledge. And I saw that you have a high number of your coaches that have completed the level 3, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We have 5, including myself.
5, including you. I think that's awesome. So that's tells me about the leadership in having that knowledge and commitment to doing a better job for people in the first place. And I've said, and I haven't said this to you, but I've said to other people, my goal for CrossFit Brio is to be the highest credentialed CrossFit gym in Canada. And I was like, I'm going to battle with Matt right now out there in Ontario. But also, I would like to lose. I would like Canada to have the highest density of level 3 and 4 coaches of anywhere in the world. So I think if we were all on that mission where you're trying to make your gym the highest credentialed CrossFit gym in Canada, I'm trying to make my gym, and et cetera, all the way across Canada, if affiliate owners who are now required to have the level 2, but if you've been doing this for more than 5 years, I think I would say as an affiliate owner, you should get your level 3. So if it starts with the owners and then it trickles down to the coaches, and if we're motivating and helping people to study and grouping people together and just saying that this is what you should do, you should pursue that level of excellence and that knowledge. You've studied for the level 3, right? It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
did you become a better coach in the process of pursuing all that knowledge?
Well, and even where realizing, like, for some, this is a burden of obligation, but I think like you have this pursuit of knowledge, and we were talking to Doobie, is like just a perpetual curiousness. Is part of it for me was to then pursue the level 4 and to attempt the level 4, which I did a year ago, December of 23, and I didn't pass. So then you have to look back and say, okay, Well, we don't move the goalpost. We realize, oh, wow, as good as I think I am, it's not good enough, which is what you probably or saw people hear way back when, right? But then having a new appreciation for the craft to say high level is high level, and I heard it from Kalipa, but for me, when I first took over my affiliate, the rising tide floats all boats.
Yeah.
Right. And that aspect. But I think many will be surprised to hear that out of all 5 of my level 3s, I'm the only full-time coach. The rest are all part-time. And so it can happen.
For sure. And I think that people participate, what do we want to call that? Hobby, recreational aspects. Like I have members and coaches at my gym that are, one of my coaches is really involved in refereeing basketball at a very high level. And so it's not his full-time job. He's an engineer, coaches CrossFit, and he's also pursuing excellence in this role of refereeing. And he continues to up the credentials in that system. And, you know, you see people that coach their kids hockey and then they elevate their skills and move up the ranks in the, you know, coaching credentialing system in that world, or it's volleyball or other things where I think people that have hobby interests, call them not your full-time job, it's still normal to pursue increased knowledge and increased level of credentialing in those things because you just want to do a better job. You just want to be better at it. We've kind of joked that, you know, so, okay, both my husband and I have the level 4 and I work on staff, and, you know, CrossFit Brio is developing more and more. People know we exist, I guess, if you want to say that. And people drop in and they come and they want to see how we do things. And so we had a staff meeting at one point and we're like, hey guys, like, it just somehow we're doing a good job of this. Everyone as a team, and this is awesome. And people are starting to look to us like, how are you doing that? And so that we need to make sure that anyone that comes in at any time to any class with any coach is going to have a good experience. That it doesn't have to be me or David. And we came up with our criteria for an ideal class. We built it all together. We were like, when you guys go to a CrossFit class at Brio or somewhere else and it's a good experience, what's happening? And we made on our whiteboard, we made this massive list. And then we started to kind of structure it and categorize them into things. And it's like, well, someone should say hi to you when you come in, right? And the class should start and end on time. And there should be some kind of a community aspect to it, whether you ask a question of the day or you partner people up for a warm up or something, right? There's going to be a way that the members are connecting with each other. And the coach is going to lead an effective general warm up. And then the coach is going to have some coaching time, some teaching, seeing and correcting. And everyone in the class should get a bit of individual attention. The coach should say their name probably 3 times, right? So we just came up with, this is what needs to happen. And all of us can aim at that. This is the criteria of an ideal class. And so that whether it's me coaching or a brand new coach or one of my other coaches that's been around since 2009, like it shouldn't matter that the experience as far as the participant is concerned should be consistent. And then we kind of joke like, well, nobody wants to be the worst coach at Brio. You know, like, nobody wants to, none of my coaches are showing up to be like, you know what I want to be? I want to be the worst coach here. It's like, they all want to be good at it. They want to help people have a good experience. And so we just got more specific about what exactly that means. And do we nail it 100% perfect every single time? No, but we know what we're aiming at. And we know when we miss the mark. I had a class that ran 2 minutes over the other day. I was like, dang it. It was not my best work, you know? And then I self-reflect. And then the next class I do, I tighten it up and I do a better job. And so that's what we're all doing. So our staff evaluation process, I don't even have to sit through a class and do an evaluation of someone else. I can just shoot them a text. We have a little Google form and go, hey, can you fill out a self-evaluation about your 5:30 class yesterday? And it's just yes, no, binary. Did you say hi to everybody when they came in? Yes or no? Did your class start and end on time? Yes or no? And we're just trying to tick as many yeses as we can. And when we have a no, you just reflect on why and try to make it better next time.
Yeah, it's even to that point of like not wanting to be the worst. It's like, yeah, it's not wanting to be the worst coach on a great team. It's, you know, it's that can hurt some feelings, but it's also that's what protects your product. And so back to the beginning, right, of you guys being able to go away, it's because you don't have to be so defensive over your product because you have a team that understands what the product is. So, right, understanding the lesson is like, Yeah, we're a CrossFit affiliate. We do CrossFit workouts, but I always tell people it's like, no, your product's coaching,
Mm-hmm.
because right. And so you guys actually sat down and defined your product so that you can find a way to make sure there's some product consistency across the board there.
Yeah. And I've been in, dropping into other CrossFit gyms is a great learning experience. You steal great ideas. Pretty much every great idea I have, I just stole from someone else.
Sure.
Coaching cues, ways of operating, storage systems, all of it. But then you learn a lot, the instructive analogue, they call it, of how you don't want to do things. And I was at a CrossFit gym of a place I like, and I know the owner, and it's a good person, but it was a newish coach, and it was not a great experience. We were 20 minutes into the class before the coach said hi. People he's never met before in the class. As far as he knows, those are new members. And it's like, you can't go 20 minutes into a class without saying hi to people. If you don't know them, you need to introduce yourself to them. But
Right.
if that's not part of the system, if nobody told him that this is what you have to do, it doesn't necessarily happen on its own. So we've taken that approach with everything. Everything has to be said out loud or written down. What's the expectation? It can't live in your head and then expect that other people are just going to be on the same page as you. So even the way the gym is cleaned, there is a specific list of things that need to happen. And then if they don't, I'm like, hey, somebody's not doing the thing. It's like point number 3 here on the standard operating procedure. Let's just make sure that gets done. And they're like, okay, 10-4, got it. How should a class run? What's the coach who's responsible for opening the gym? What specifically are they supposed to do? The coach who's responsible for closing the gym, what specifically are they supposed to do? And then if I come in for the 6 a.m. class and a bunch of stuff from the evening class isn't done, there's a text. Hey man, it just looks like you forgot to whatever. Just make sure you hit that next time. And they're like, yep, cool. Thanks. Got it. But if those things aren't spoken out loud, I heard a great quote the other day. Unspoken expectations are the seeds of future resentments.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so in your business, you need to have spoken expectations. Because if you're like, oh, why does that coach never put the boxes away like that at night, that closing coach? You're like, did you ever tell them that they should do that? No, they should just know. They're not going to just know. So communication is the key to effective teamwork.
Right. That's right. So how can people get a hold of you, follow you, bug you?
Oh, yeah. So ZOSRYLE, Zos Rylee on Instagram is my personal one. The Keto Athlete is my nutrition dabbling stuff. CrossFitBrio.com. We're at CrossFit Brio on Instagram as well. So you can find us, follow us. If you're in Saskatoon, come for a visit. Love visitors. Come for a drop in. Happy to, shoot me a message. I might take a while to reply. I'm on the road quite a bit, but eventually I'll get around to it. I would give you my email, but my email is just a trash heap of Amazon purchase confirmations and things just get lost in there. So that's not a good one.
Love it. You'll respond to them while you're at the airport.
Exactly. That's when I do a lot of the catching up on everything for sure.
And on that note, 3, 2, 1, time.